So I got to write.
Come, where the moonlight dares not to creep, roasts drown, velvet gloom, air sweet, ghostly sleep, this time decayed with the rich perfume, the mortal lover never know me so, you're stilled in the storm but beneath the skin, breath upon the trembling of the soul from the bitters to fever grow thin, you can finally draw me to your tender more than this every wound, forget to ache, your darkness was
Come, where the moonlight dares not to creep, roasts drown,
velvet gloom. Air sweet, ghostly sleep, this time decayed for the rich perfume. No mortal lover ever know me so. We're stilled in the storm, but beneath the skin. Breath upon the trembling of the soul for the bitters defeat of crow grow thin. You can find it draw me to your tender voice of this every wound. Forget to ache. Your darkness whispers the lullabies of the dissolve for the mercy's sake. Whispers bloom for the day that's died, the dark garden. Trends in the obsidian light for this every soul fractured by the deep festering of the wound. You hold on to the pieces together for they keep me from the impending doom. Take me to the dark and heartbeat with my breath. Feel it, fingers, trace stars along the skin for the bracing of the world, forget the chaos. And I'm undone for the hole within. Moon drips across its curls, facing this fire divine warming in the hollow of the chest, and the shadows that wind be against the gentle grace. And all the rest is aches to find rest. And your arms intersoft into the shadow for each heartbreak and heartbeat, slow sacred. Hymns of the night alive and thriving and the hope be close, and I'm endless in the hush of the soul finds home. In the ink of desire. And fall in love with the words of the brushing over the skin for the that's tracing over your courage of desire. And that was the right word to remember behind. For the dreams and the art for the holding on. And the life that almost convinced me to let it go, for this is the kind of dream that one that visits the midnight for this attainment. Gonna be, shall be tamed for the never to act ashamed of the blame that you have the legacy within for the names of whom you find it guided for thus it fell before the finish line. I'm sorry if I'm cruel or blind and cannot see the light. The beauty must be carved in special ways to serve the hard to hold. When I'm the rule for the stories that be told, prosperous for the river to be less dangerous in the world to be a building into the next level. You sleep now for the weary truth that rises against the wind for the same comfort to you, but for tomorrow I will forget you. My mind wakes up empty for the name slips through the fingers of the water can't hold. But the memory does. The lonely man's thought to try to love and not avail. The goal for the find much sorrow for the where I dwell. And the mystery is not to be solved for the moments that sit with the shadows of dust and unseen for the yet shaping the night of the universe with us in the rivers. That I can find a soul to note for the end of the song for the binding of the vision with another frame. Stars shine in countless patterns, and the mystery is not to be solved but live and breathe like light. When you again, pain was and I wanted to be loved and you can't. Remember the abuse that doesn't want to be held and I want to be not neglected for the wanted to be was to be for this to find a favorite art for the always the hiding between us two. We need to confide. And the empty echoes answers when I call the name for the silence to hold the truth of what burns. Honest flame for no sugar words of the comfort for no hand upon the back for the cold indifference of the shining upon the well-worn track. I'd rather feel it nodding and bidding it rather than a solitary tear for the hollow for the laughter for the drowning in the shallow chair. Glad a cage of suffocating your perfume silky snare. Crave the wild untamed freedom for the this to be the breathing and open air for the soft. So let me wander only enough for the true stars going feeding in the falsehood of a half-forgotten dream for the death of the final curtain for the release and providing a release. The constant shadow for the adjustments and the counterfeit peace. And the lonely death of the Solomon choice of this quiet of fading sign. But born upon the pure conviction that beneath the iron sky for the race of faith we find of living in for anything less than guided light upon the waiting and the briefing. And the beauty and isolation for the quiet gives my life this space that's empty but the endlessness of thoughts and echo for the tip of the sun to find peace with this isolation that was with the cage. The words might fall, might be left unsaid. A perfect rhyme like a distant star. Left with the echoes near and far. Empty page staring in the eye, but the inspiration passing by for the right, the truth, the love again, for the pain, for the evil, all done being in vain. Or share the soul for the raw and deep, for the finding that no one wants to keep. Self for this quiet voice to call the wisdom, for the learn that doesn't shout. To wear the crown for the calling attention, for the itself, for the wisdom and quiet. Phenomenal. The power of presence, to say the beauty was in the face of the sick glitter of the glow, for the told me it was a quiet confidence. To turn your pain into the power for the speechless and to pull you down for the confusion of it, to make you feel small again, for the sometimes you're even angry, or not to hate. Ordinary. For the tension, but it didn't do anything extraordinary. For the surround the house, wish you were echoes of you, but this feel lifetime gone by, but it's too soon for them to still be here, but you could be in the sky. What a night, what a dance, the heart is full. Until the morning.
as you count on the applause of the crowds and when you wanted to be eternal. For the crowded applause of the round of the pompous of the dwarf, for the contemplate, or the contemplates, the deal for the consider that for the great mass. You don't even believe it what the imperial belongs to, or none of them for the standing on a pedestal, for the change of the faith, for the subjects of none of them, or the think the service, the flock that for the prophets and sage, the righteous, for the man behind the tables of kings, and you can find the crab and the like the poison with the mercury, for the heart begin to speak. And the ordinary for the building, and among the ordinary people for the Lord is whipped, that for the attribute, for this attribute, for the illusion, every for the man of God is everything, for the most important, for the fascination, for the measure, for the doom, for the slope and annihilation. In the darkness of the wolf, for the everybody wants the sunshine, for the crave the dark, for this and need to hear the call, for the wolf, for this to be the forest is still here, for not the where to go from here, for this is still back forward, for the slide back to the empty cup, for the drink it dry, that love that painted us. The ground level for the where we about to others to think about what their thoughts are, for the euro to guide, for the shape that shows someone mind, for they can't make the world through your eyes, and I can find the day. This is how the bullying works. This is find the big box of the fresh beef, for the going to the store, for the winter stay, for the owning of the third, for the second, for the tramp of the dreams and the knots of the scarecrows come to life, for this is back to the bury the past day. And wipe your tears before the dry because you don't want to wipe it the etching the memories to say the water so direct to take everything away for the bad day. To see the wrong for the decisions made, for the simple the mistake, for the see past all those the same as when I blink. And the epitaph of life, for this is said to be the funeral, for this is time to find it quite disturbing and enough, for this to try to be enough, for the try harder, for the impetus the cold, for the softly burn, for this is silhouette upon the cassock upon. And should I do without the pain, for the caring for the round, for the soul, for the bags to the fill with the nothing, and the overreaching, for the you could probably throw the hands in, for the cassock call, for the built light in the arm, for the tank, for the cover, for the camouflage, and no blank shadows of disbelief. The mirrors will tell you what you wanted to hear, for the embracing the shadows to carry the burden over your life to work with you. And the dare was the cruel irony for the precise time, stand for the progression of the what you thought in the past that brought me here, for it was the avalanche of what the autopilot, for the maturity forgot the human, for the inhalation over the engine over the mill, with the exhale for the field borrow, over the cat that seek to this light to begin, for the tremor in the quiet room, for the restless and the peace of the what has been found. In the healing stage, long ago for the demon, they got a right for the time, for the soul to find the words that was never cost a dime. To chip away at the sanity for the come to know the best. This is dragon shadow for the stark and the slow. The fire stare of the illumining over the hour gleam. Starts in the morn for the measure for the scoring by the psychotic. And had it coming but you didn't see me for this. She is a loser for the bitter as a limit for this to be ripping the squeeze of the antagonize your lips and soar for the word for the imperfect ideals. Make me happy, the words land soft, the morning light quiet, spark the lift over the room for the glad to make you happy, for the happy you to still you don't be tell me so. Angel eyes said you came into the lonely little world for the fool, spoke like rain against the window pane for the softest word, for the gentle hush and whisper promise, and I let him over the blind to the omen, with the visible eye, vivid eyes, and over yourself with the word phrase, a single line of verse, spread of the wings in this divine veil, blood sheets this fine into the oblivion for the someone to hold. Head high for the sadness that this pain falls from. Sometimes they're sweetest in the sensation the souls are reaching for. A revolutionary less is more for the understanding of one's ego must be. Or what maybe half of that will eat. Touch me for the hate and inconsistency, for the wrestling with the potential, for the killing the game, for the knowing to have the show to love. Or architect of the bread for the stove, that you can find the rest of the checks, discipline to find the streets, of this the kitchen over the grind. With a waste away the sorrow, with the wave of another day for the coming of what may come, go, leave or stay. No return, or there was going to go back. But to make yourself mind to find the smallest of the yard for the yeller for this. Sometimes you ask us to beat it, and sometimes we're kicked out of the water pot for the bark. Or sometimes you should know what comes after dark for will grow for the fertile ground. You exercise less and more for the mind, so the instrument for the becomes a poor polishing with the use of this midnight for the stretching of the course. And this is like the hand for the setting in the distance with the sky, waiting for them. Or fear that the ending is near. I fear the ending is here, or that's the fear. Or the fear to hear, to fear to find what's near for the salute the sky for this assault the wind for the starlight. And how do I love the body that isn't yours, or the bed in front of the lab report, with two the keys to define the contingency, with the meets the wisdom, with the forging result. And every turn for the no for the turn, for the never the know that already somebody for the nobody behind me. For your own demise, the paradoxical for the life of, till you want to love, the one to be better for the without the poem. And what is the poet without the poem? For the butterfly, for the season, for the yet to be the world, for the romance, and this to find the 3 times, and one to find a turn, for this the better, for the last, and this to be the beautiful word, for the intense, and this brave to be stand. Courage of the forge of the freedoms of fire for the distance that shows with the homeless and land for the art of the brazen find the fire the desire